Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another AMA session. Today, we are going to talk about a platform which is quite promising, and you may know it as Uniswap of RWAs. But today, here with me to explain more about it is Julian KWAN, and we will talk many things about this platform, including the InvestaX, which is connected, and the token itself, and staking, and different benefits, and also how the platform works. So, welcome, Julian. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, and a big hi to all of your community.
Thank you very much for joining us once again. You have been an entrepreneur for quite some time. Can you introduce yourself? What have you done, and how this platform started?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Great to meet everybody. My name is Julian Kwan. I'm a seven-time founder. I'm originally from Australia. I moved to China when I was 21 years old, and I started my first company. That was an advertising media company that eventually got bought by the parent company of UFC, that does all the social media in China for foreign sports teams, because you can't use Facebook in China or anything else. And then I got into real estate development. I built the first boutique hotel in Shanghai, which we made like a carbon neutral development. We purchased carbon credits, so that was a pretty big hit, called Urban Hotels, which is still going today. Done a bunch of different real estate projects, and then we started InvestaX in 2015 in Singapore. It was one of the first real estate crowdfunding platforms. And then in 2017, with ICO boom, we got excited by the security token, which is now called real world asset tokens. We thought, world of digital currencies, we need a world of digital securities. We should put all of our shares of startups and real estate on blockchain, and then everything can connect. And we'd have this whole new financial system and financial world. So InvestaX transformed itself into like a Web 2, into a Web 3 platform, but also added an exchange license to its broker-dealer license and built an end-to-end solution. So anyone can tokenize their real-world asset. There's an end-to-end system. There's KYC for investors. There's wallets. You can pay in fiat or stable coins, and you can buy and sell real-world asset tokens. And that was the, so that all kicked along. And then in 2021, we started building IXSwap. We had some new founders. Aaron joined us, and I started the InvestaX platform with Alice. And then we were looking at the problem in the RWA space in 2021 was that there was all this talk about liquidity, but there was no liquidity solutions. So we embarked on this mission to see if we could build the Uniswap for RWA. What that means is that anyone can start a liquidity pool, and anyone can trade, but because it's typically securities, we have all the licenses around it. So Uniswap doesn't list real-world asset tokens because it doesn't have any securities licenses or any custody or crypto licenses, whereas IXSwap went and got all the right licenses, and it allows retail investors. So anyone can register on IXSwap with a photo ID and buy a real-world asset equity token with one USDT. So we're really proud of the platform. We think it solves one of the biggest problems in the real asset space. It's one of the very, very few in the world that has licenses. It's almost one of two that I know, the only one of two that I know actually allows retail investors. So you have all these people in crypto excited about, utility tokens of RWA platforms, but they can't even buy the real asset token. So it makes a lot more sense to support projects where you can actually use your token. In our instance, the IXS token, you can use it on the platform. Rewards, staking, fees, etc. And so that's the evolution. We built this sister platform. They are both fully operational. We have launched, I think, more real-world asset tokens than anyone in the world, not by volume. The tokenized treasuries guys have got the most volume, but we've just added that product recently. But we've been doing startup tokens and VC fund tokens and real estate tokens, and we're asset agnostic. And so we just wanted to make it as easy as buying cryptocurrency for everyone in the world. And yeah, we're really excited here to talk more about the platform, about the industry, what we're excited by, and share this with your community.
Thank you much for the answer. I think it answers a lot of questions that people might have in their minds already, but we have still a lot more to talk about. So there are two things that I want to start off the conversation with, which is you touched upon it, but maybe we can delve deeper into that. Is that how the approach to liquidity align with your vision in terms of the platform? And also, you mentioned that there are a lot of use cases, and it kind of democratizes the RWAs and cryptos again. And how retail investors and institutional investors can benefit from your platform?
Yeah, so if you go back to cryptocurrency industry 2016, 17, everyone was trading on centralized exchanges, Binance and Coinbase, because they had liquidity, right? No one was trading on the DEXs. There was nothing to trade. The DEXs essentially looked like listing boards, and the DEXs basically serviced everyone that wasn't big enough and rich enough to pay Binance and Coinbase and have market makers type of following. So thousands and thousands and thousands of altcoins sat on DEXs that had no love and had no liquidity. The innovation of the automated market making model, the AMM model that sits behind all the DEXs today, was that the Uniswap's the biggest today. They weren't the first, but today let's just call the DEXs Uniswap, so everyone instead of as the term. So what Uniswap does, it allows anyone with two cryptocurrencies to come to the platform and start a liquidity pool via smart contracts, no humans. This was the real innovation. So basically it said, hello, 10,000 altcoins. You don't have any liquidity. We've got a new solution. You start liquidity yourself. Tell all your token holders they can join in the liquidity. They can share in the market making fees, and then tell everyone else there's now a trading venue. So you can come to Uniswap, you can buy and sell our ABC token, and then zero to hero in the liquidity solution. So when we thought about RWA, again, they used to be called security tokens. They used to be called digital securities. They used to be called STO. It's now RWA. But when you think about RWA, the industry, if you believe in it, and we were the first people in Asia building on in RWA, we've been doing it for 6 years. A lot of people heard about it this year, but it's been going for a long time, and it was a pretty painful beginning. But when you think about RWA, if you believe in RWA, tokenize everything, startups, real estate, private equity, VC funds, private credit, carbon credits, everything, commodities, then there's going to be, first of all, millions more tokens than crypto, because there are millions more real assets than there ever will be crypto. That aside, the super majority, let's call it 99.99%, are not going to be big enough to go into a centralized real asset exchange. So it's the same concept with the DEXs and the SEXs back in 2017. So the biggest real asset tokens that have market makers and Ondo type products, they'll be in centralized real asset exchange, but most people won't get in. So where are they going to trade, right? So we were like, all right, so at the moment, well, before IXSwap, there was nowhere to trade. There is no solution for them, right? You've launched it, people have bought it, you can't get in the exchange, and then people are trying to P2P with each other. So that's what IXSwap came into the picture. It was built for everyone. It was built for every real asset token in the world. Eventually chain agnostic. We're current with the most recent versions on Base, Coinbase as well, our investors. But that was the essential thinking. It was like, let anyone with an RWA as small as $10,000, so $5,000 equity and 5,000 USDT or C, or whatever you want to price it in, come to the platform and start a liquidity pool. So, and then breathe life into that asset, liquidity into that asset, and then it grows from there, right? And we know this works because we've seen Uniswap and PancakeSwap and Sushi. We've seen how those models, like we see that it works, right? And by the way, there is no other way. There is nothing else out there. Like if you can't get into a centralized real asset exchange like Securitize or something, what are you going to do, right? So we fundamentally believe that IXSwap can be much bigger than Uniswap one day, and we love Uniswap. I'm saying we focus on different assets. Uniswap can't list real asset tokens because it doesn't have licenses. And we want to help everyone. We want to help any single real asset token in the world create liquidity pool, add more value, make it more interesting and valuable for people to buy it. And again, you can do it very, very small. So if you contemplate, typical startup fails, successful startup takes 5, 10, 20 years to get liquidity event for people, right? Now you can come to IXSwap, you can launch on the launchpad, raise your first seed round, and you could create a liquidity pool, and instantaneously the next day, you have trading of your shares. It's not 10x better, it's like 100x better than a lot of the systems. So that's the real value proposition and why we built it. And we built it for ourselves. We have a centralized real world asset exchange. It's called InvestaX. we have it. Like, we've been building it, take like 5 years to get a license.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there was also like, well, okay, but what about all the other tokens that are too small, too weird, no one knows about them, all the different things. There's no market making, there'll never be, there's no price discovery yet, there's no Oracle, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we built it. So it was built for purpose. It was built for ourselves, in terms of ourselves, our clients, the marketplace. And it's just now coming alive, and people are really finally, for the first time, understanding it. Obviously, people said we were too early starting 3.5 years ago, but we're not, because now it's open, and now the real asset industry is booming. If you want to start to build one today, I'll see you in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hope to help all the real asset projects, platforms, products, because that's the position of it's for the industry.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Said what you said. I mean, RWA industry has been quite big this year, and if you want to develop a platform, you need to spend a lot of time on it. And I think that's what
Yes.
you did. You saw a market gap way before it actually happened. So it's prediction. It's not only prediction. You research about it, and there are a lot of things that go into that. And I believe your experience in InvestaX also contributes to how you develop this platform. So, can you open up about it?
Yeah. So InvestaX. Okay. So the short history was, I was trying to work out how to get into the marriage of internet and private equity investing and private markets investing. So, real estate startups. And I saw in America in 2014 the very first real estate crowdfunding platforms, maybe 13. And I immediately went, aha, okay, this is the first time we've seen people investing, connect. I was doing real estate for many years, so I was like, okay, let me come to Asia. Is anyone doing it? No, let me start the first one. The problem was, first of all, it was good, right? It was better than not having it, right? People were logging on from around the world, registering, and literally putting real money into projects around the world via these platforms. And so originally, so that was going well, but then very quickly I realized that it wasn't really a 0 to 1 value proposition. It was like a 0 to 0.2. So the whole talk in Silicon Valley, it's got to be this big change, right? And why I say it was not 0 to 1 and 0 to 0.2 is because it was definitely better. It was interesting. More people could access. There were people doing these deals, but behind the platforms, everything was done on paper. So it really, because that's how we used to do it before blockchain, right? So, and then once people invested, okay, good. And then what? Nothing, right? Wait for 5 years. Normal real estate investing, or probably 7 years. So as soon as we saw the ICO boom, which 35% of ICO companies or so in 2017 was Singapore companies. So there were like 5 ICO events a day. So we went to as many as we could and said, okay, immediately I thought we should use this to wrap the real world asset token, because digital better than paper. It was so obvious to me. But it had never happened before. So we immediately thought, okay, well then let's think about this. What does everyone need to issue their real asset tokens? They need a platform, they need KYC, they need technology, bank accounts, stable coins, issue, trade, exchange. Okay, well, let's build that. So we embarked on the mission to build this one-stop technology regulated platform, which now is what InvestaX is. And that took nearly 5.5 years of licensing pain, right? So that's what is really required to get these types of licenses, right? For all the people shilling new RWA projects every day with a PowerPoint, like, that's what's coming down the pipeline if you're not just doing a token money grab. But anyway, by the time we were ready to start launching the exchange, we were trying to work out this liquidity solution. Everyone was saying, where's this liquidity? Now, back in 2021, 22, you have market makers in crypto. We still have them today, but they're not licensed to market make real asset tokens. So no one wanted to do that. I mean, because that would be legal. And then the traditional market makers that you might find on, the New York Stock Exchange, who have licenses to market make securities, they were like, what the hell, blockchain? So we got to this point where we'd finally got the exchange licenses approved, but there's no market making solutions. This is a global problem, right? It's a global problem. Like, the whole industry is only 5-6 years old. So that's when we then, Aaron joined us, and he was a crypto trader but he was also an ex-banker, so he knew both sides, securities and investments, private equity. And then he said, well, hang on, have you heard of Uniswap? I said, yeah. We actually went for a beer one day. He said, we heard of Uniswap. Yeah, I heard of Uniswap. And then he said, well, do you know what it is? Yeah, it's a DEX, you trade cryptos. Do you know how it works? And I said, like, to be honest, no. I mean, plug in a wallet and buy it. He said, where's the liquidity coming from? I'm like, I don't know. Okay, I guess this is the trick question. I don't know where. And he's like, it's this system, this AMM. You can start it yourself. You can add the pools yourself. Like, it's crowdsourced market making essentially, and it's amazing and it works. And no one's got a solution for liquidity in RWA. Let's see if we can build this, right? So I'll just shut it up. So that's what we did. We looked at it and thought, and the next morning I woke up and I messaged him and I said, yeah, let's do this. Let's do it. Because I slept on it and it was just very obvious to me. And then we went on the journey of trying to build it. InvestaX, when IXOP started, it was just a tech company. It was like a DEX, right? But we needed a broker-dealer license, so we rented InvestaX's broker-dealer license. So this was the original connection, right? So and IX was connected to InvestaX or something similar. So we rented the broker-dealer license from InvestaX, and then we used the custody license from First Digital in Hong Kong, which are the guys behind FT USDT with that new stable coin that anyway. So the original model was like, okay, we need these licenses. And it was tough because no one ever built it before. You basically, this is the real connection of Web 2, Web 3, and securities and licenses, and trying to get the same user experience as Uniswap. It was really, 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 really difficult. But we had an amazing team, and we raised money. We launched the IXS as an ICO utility. We raised 2.75 million, and unlike most projects, we put all the money to build the platform out. We had like 50 people working on it, and then we knew very quickly, okay, we need to get our own licenses because it's a hell of a lot of compliance and reporting and headaches behind the platform that most people would never understand if they didn't run a platform. And we wanted to get retail licenses. So we looked at 60 jurisdictions around the world. Alice and the legal team, we got 20% of our companies in legal department or something like that, something crazy. And we looked at all the jurisdictions around the world, and we saw Bahamas had like the best all-in-one license. So we applied that. And then, 6 months later, FTX turned up. And the first thing I said was, oh my God, FTX is here. And people were like, oh, this is amazing. And I was like, let's wait and see. It's going to be amazingly good or amazingly bad. And of course, it was amazingly bad. He never even got to the first audit and just blew the whole thing up, right? So that obviously was a huge negative setback for the industry and for Bahamas and for our licensing application, blah, blah, blah. That's a couple of years of pain, and then we pop out on the other side, and it has all its own licenses, so it can move a lot faster, doesn't rely on anyone else, and it does it all. And we also built a launch pad. So as a RWA DEX, okay, that sounds pretty simple conceptually, but then like we need more assets. The RWA industry is rife with just people talking huge games, no assets, nothing available for retail investors. Like it's kind of insane. But I'm not saying anything negative about any particular group, but what we said was we better build a launch pad to help more projects launch so we can actually have more pools. So we built it for ourselves. And now that's where a lot of people come to launch their real asset tokens, although you don't have to be on the launch pad to get into the DEX because that's not the model. But that's been an evolutionary process. And then we've added all these really good new features and functions and listened to feedback from some of our investors like Coinbase and other people. And yeah, now we're excited to really push it out. Like it's really only been launching deals, really properly the last couple of months. And we've got amazing use cases for IX token and a whole bunch of stuff we can talk about later. Yeah.
Well, it's been quite exciting, I guess, for you to launch these platforms and you watch them evolve, grow, and come to the state that they are in. And especially with IXWeb now, you're getting on a new journey. And although this journey started way before, now it makes a lot of sense. And
Yes.
I think you also launched IXS token now on
Yes.
InvestaX.
Yes.
So
that was
this is
yeah.
so it's a utility token, right? It's the main function.
Correct. Yeah. So IXS was initially just the utility token of the IXSwap platform. It operates like BNB or the Uni token. we have some really exciting kind of world first use cases where you can actually stake your IXS utility token and earn RWA equity tokens as rewards. That's just one thing. So we've been building out more and more use cases for the token. And then it made a lot of sense for us to, we've done a bunch of integration upgrades with the platforms, InvestaX, and the world's evolved as time goes on. And now we're like, okay, now it's time to launch it as also the utility on InvestaX. So it's the only platform token that in the RWA space that's the utility token of two platforms. And it's certainly the only token that's the utility token of two licensed platforms in the space. So yeah, we're super excited by that. We just announced it last week. We're building out a whole bunch of key core functions just to build out that utility. I believe in utility tokens. I mean, if you actually have a real platform, there's many amazing, exciting use cases for it. If you don't build anything, of course, it's worth nothing. And yeah, so we're super excited by that. And I think that more and more assets come into the platform. We want to pair a small percentage of those assets against IXS and create a pool. So our vision was that it would eventually become like an RWA index token, where if we could get every asset in the world tokenized, put 1% against IXSwap, that would stabilize it, and it would also dramatically increase, the volume. Like right now, we're about 80 to 100 mil market cap. There's many real world assets that are any single real world assets in the world that are much greater value than just that, right? So there's trillions of dollars of real world asset tokens. If we compare it against a tiny percent of that, the market cap of the token should be, much higher, of course. And as we drive more and more partnerships with crypto exchanges, with messaging apps, with DeFi wallets as their RWA partner, which is a unique position we have, more and more use case, and we're just going to see hopefully some insane growth for the community, for the use case, for the benefits of it, and for the whole platforms.
Yeah, and speaking of partnerships, you have quite big partnerships as well. BNB, Coinbase, XTC, and other platforms which are also big on RWA. So how do they contribute to the platform?
Yeah, well, there's lots of different types of partnerships. We focus really on real partnerships. I mean, I mean as in everything takes time and energy. So if you're going to go partner with someone, lots of conversations, then you want to see some real business opportunities. So the protocols, let's start at the protocols. So protocols, great, obviously. But in the real world asset space, protocols without licensed venues to issue and trade the assets are really just the tech, one part of the journey, right? So when you build a dApp on a blockchain, you don't need anyone else, right? And that's the value. That's one of the DNAs of the whole space. But when you're issuing a real world asset token, and there needs to be broker-dealer licenses and crypto custody licenses and exchange licenses, you're just issuing it on a blockchain which doesn't have any connection to that. It's kind of interesting, but not that valuable. I mean, you're going to tokenize your startup. You don't want to just do it for yourself, right? You want to do it for your investors. You want to have a place to sell it. You want to be able to lend and borrow on this token. You want to plug it into the world, right? So that's regulated activities, and it always will be for a very long time. So, I think ultimately what we've wanted to do is say, sort of the protocols is be chain agnostic. So if you're a protocol and you're a public protocol, we from day one in 2017, we said, okay, let's go RWA, let's go public chain. Actually, no one said that for many, many years. Everyone was building private chains that people would say never issue on a public chain, pay gas fees, funding terrorists, all kinds of crazy stuff was being said up until last year when Larry Fink said everything's going to be tokenized and it's got to be on public chain. That's where the innovation is, and also that's where all the digital assets are. How can you interact with crypto and stablecoin and DAO and NFT and blah, 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 all of it if you're on your own private chain? Makes no sense. So private chains are a massive failed experiment that went on for a long time. We watched that car crash from the side, and we went public chain. We've done Algorand, Tezos, Hedera, we've done Ethereum, Polygon. Recently, we've done Base, we've done BNB, things going massive on tokenization, XDC as well, coming down the pipeline, a couple of layer 2 RWA protocols. So the protocols, again, they've got capital, they've got networks, they've got issuers, they've got investors, but it's let's just say it's 1,000 times better if any protocol wants to be in RWA to come and integrate with the platform. Now, we've been able to get all our licensing chain agnostic. So that's another unique point of our platform. Most other people who went and built their own private chain, they're kind of screwed because their wallet, the process of how you do your business is what the real regulation is about. So if you've got a private chain, it's very different from public chains and how you pay fiat versus stables. It's the whole architecture of a business, and it's very, very difficult to just change it all around. That's a separate issue. But so we're all on public chains. There's a couple coming down the pipeline, and I think yesterday we announced XDC, because XDC protocol, they want to be a layer one for everyone in enterprise and enterprise grade, and plug and play, right? So the protocol has partnered up with Plug and Play, which is a massive VC accelerator, basically pairing corporates with startups to do real business, right? So behind PNP, Plug and Play, it's like a couple of hundred corporates fund that business model, right? So now it's like a couple of hundred corporates, XDC protocol, and InvestaX to help all these guys issue. So there'll be a massive surge of issuance for these guys. So that's just one example. We're also built on Base, because Coinbase is an investor. Coinbase has 150 million wallets. Coinbase wants everyone to buy real world assets. They would love them to buy them on Base. They don't have to be, but they love them to buy them through Coinbase wallet, etc. And we're all integrated with that direction. So we do all of our integrations, based on. Sorry, got a couple of puppies that can't work out if they want to stay in the interview or not.
Okay.
So that's the protocols. Other groups are like distribution channels and partners. So we've got a couple of the leading cryptocurrency exchanges in the world. So we'll be announcing this soon. Cryptocurrency exchanges, most of them don't have licenses. The ones that do have licenses for cryptocurrency, right? All these assets are different. Cryptocurrency, stocks, commodities, etc. And that's why typically they have different licensing regimes. But the simple thing for people to understand is that, and why we went on public chains a long time ago, we knew that there would be a time, and hopefully we'd still be around, and we are, so that's lucky, but we knew there'd be a time when all the crypto exchanges went, we should sell our users more things. What else besides meme coins and crypto? RWA, natural progression. Oh, hang on. These are securities. We need licenses. We're going to have to sell them illegally. Many are doing that. That won't last forever. Or we've got to go get our own licensing. That'll take years. Or we have to buy them. There's not a lot out there, but so that's one other option. Or they work with a group like us. So who've done it all legally, compliantly, and can plug in as a B2B partner. So their users are buying and selling RWA, but it's legally, compliantly done through us. This is now happening. You can see Crypto.com buying broker-dealer licenses to sell RWA. Coinbase is building RWA exchange in Abu Dhabi. So this is a really exciting thing that's coming down the pipeline for the IXS community. We will be partnering up with more and more crypto exchanges. And then what does that mean? It means hundreds of millions of wallets and buyers that come to the table. So there's actually two very different worlds going on in the RWA space. So you've got like Wall Street and BlackRock and tokenizing their treasuries for high net worth BlackRock customers, $5 million minimum. Okay, that's great PR. What does that do for 7.99 billion people? Nothing, right? But what's more exciting is, it's good. It tells everyone about it and makes everyone think we've got to start tokenizing stuff. But what's more exciting is hundreds and hundreds of millions of Web3 wallets. And crypto exchanges or DeFi platforms or crypto or wallets or crypto exchanges, they're already there. They know blockchain, they know tokens. In the bull market, sure, everyone's interested in memes and other things. In the bear market, everyone's going to be interested in real estate tokens, and yield tokens and treasuries and all this stuff. So we're really excited by those partnerships. And there's other ones. I guess it depends on what people do. We're looking for partnerships with scalable products. So who's got lots of real asset tokens that can keep coming as they get funded. VC accelerators who want to tokenize the startups. We've got a couple of market making partners. And then there's obviously, because of the industry exploding, other partnerships we're doing that might not be directly revenue related, but might be on a technology basis or knowledge sharing or trying to look at agents and stuff. So that's how we kind of think about it. And we've got some amazing investors and we've got some amazing partnerships. That again, a lot of this stuff's been in the works for many years, and it's just kind of a lot of it's coming together this year.
Definitely. And partnerships help projects a lot. First, they give you a great stage to be on, and also they help build a platform, and more customers can come in. And even with the compliance issues, partners are quite important. And you are a project which is regularly compliant in more than one countries. And in terms of that, I think being compliant to the regulations takes hard work for the project. So,
Yeah.
what would you say that being compliant says about IXSwap, and what kind of flexibility it gives to the project?
Yeah, it's a good question actually. If you don't have, if you're not from the capital market, even if you are from the capital markets, if you've never applied for a financial license, you have no idea how painful it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's excruciatingly painful typically, especially when you're doing it in a new industry.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and get, if you want to sell, stocks, whatever, you apply. If you want to sell equities, you can apply for a equity, like a broker dealer license that's
Mm-hmm.
probably being done 1,000, 10,000 times for the last 50 years. That's not that difficult. But if you go in and say, hey, I want one of those licenses, but we don't issue on paper now. Now we issue on tokens, and they're blockchains, and there's different types of blockchains and different smart contracts protocols, and this is how it's going to work. And there's different types of wallets, cold and hot. There's different types of trading. It's just deep and complex. So
Mm-hmm.
we've spent over 5.5 years collectively to get all of our licenses, and it's very, very difficult. You need to have the right team, you need to have the right backgrounds, you need to have the right capital, you need to then survive, because you're not legally allowed to sell something on your platform if you haven't had your license approved. That's why you're applying for a license. Without it, you don't have one. So for those years on those different lines, there's zero revenue. There's meant to be zero revenue. So without getting too much further into it, it's full-time people in your company in compliance. It's abiding by strict rules wherever you are. It's checks and balances daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. It's full-on audit coming in. You have to make sure that you're balancing, trying to run the business and grow it, checking everyone, money sources, background. Like, it's a whole deal. But the reality is that, regulations were created to protect investors. Maybe they could be adjusted, and maybe they could be, they're a bit onerous at times, but they exist for a reason, right? Otherwise, everything would just be a rug, right? So we didn't create regulations. Again, I don't necessarily love a lot of them. A lot of it's pretty painful and not necessary, but I'm not here to change that side of the world. I just wanted to build these platforms and let as many people as possible access these assets and try to make money and build their knowledge and experience with RWA. So, and again, like, if you're selling RWA, then if you're selling shares in your startup, you want to know who the person is, right? And that would be an RWA token, right? If most people in the degens don't really understand, if you're selling an ICO, no one cares. No one cares who these people are. They don't own part of your company. A million people hold your token. You don't even know who they are to find. So RWA is just a different asset class, right? You're not going to have any founder or fund manager or company owner that's okay to have unknown people owning shares in their company, because they could be bad people, and then it could bring your whole business down. So we needed this basic level of regulation to follow, and then we try to build as close to the UX UI of Web3 as possible, and then bring in all these exciting assets that this community's never seen before. And that is exciting for me, and I think there's a lot of people in the RWA space now. There's a lot of new projects. There's a lot of people saying whatever they want. Most of it is not necessarily true. A lot of the platforms don't even have any real world assets, or don't have them for retail investors. Let the market figure that out. We just keep doing what we're doing. Hopefully we can help more people. And then, as they say, as the tide goes out, we'll see who's, wearing swimming pants or trunks, whatever they say. But again, I'm not here to try to manage or comment on all the crazy stuff going on out there. I'm just super excited that the real companies, the real B2B partners, the real crypto exchanges, the good ones, like, they're not going to work with people that don't have licenses. No one, a good fund manager, good asset owner, no one's going to list their assets or want to buy and sell them if they think it's illegal. And that's where these platforms that are all just shilling all this crazy stuff, that's what they'll work out. And they can say whatever they want to their communities to pump their token, but they'll never ever get $1 of real revenue, and eventually everyone will find out, and eventually it'll crash. But again, crypto is full of strange situations, and the last comment I'm saying on this is that, like, crypto is all that decentralization, yada yada yada. Before the AMM DEX model, every single person traded on a centralized exchange. Like, okay, well, there were DEXs, and like, yeah, but they're not very good, liquidity's low and whatever. I'm like, yeah, but it's decentralized, isn't that the whole point? And everyone's like, Binance. So I think now it's a convergence of Wall Street and crypto. So you've got Robinhood buying crypto exchanges, you've got Crypto.com buying broker dealers, you've got like Grab Finance, which is like our Uber app over here that's now adding crypto, and you've got Interactive Brokers adding crypto. Like, so where RWA is connecting all the sides, because the world will live on a platform situation, and that's where the real crazy distribution growth goes. So we're about to announce soon a big partnership with one of the biggest apps in Asia. And again, like, someone with 200-300 million users is not going to just plug into people that are talking a big game, don't have, like, it doesn't make any sense, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So our pain of the last couple of years is really starting to come to fruition, and I think it's very, very exciting for the industry and for our users and our communities and our business that we're about to see some pretty explosive growth.
Yeah, and as you said, there is a growing confidence on cryptos right now, especially with the RWAs, which were really important this year. And I know that you spend a lot of time being regulatory compliant, but this means a lot to the customers and a lot to the people. And I think every project which they want, if they want to get big, if they want to really reach to the people they want to reach, they should do that. And it's really great to see that you spend a lot of time and hard work on it, and many sleepless nights, I guess.
There were many dark days, that's for sure. And also, when you're applying for a license, the last thing I'd say is there's no timeline. It's like, what are we going to get? You don't know. So you're out there as a startup founder, raising money, selling the dream, trying to get it approved, not getting any revenue from that line, having investors chewing you out. So what's going on? It's been a year, it's been 2 years, it's been 3 years. It's like, I wouldn't suggest anyone does it. It's actually a really bad idea now that I think about it. It's actually so, but I gotta hand it to my team and my co-founders. Like, yeah, just stuck it out. Like, I just believed this day would come. And this day is like now, the volume of RWA doubled last month, and like everyone wants to do it, and everyone gets it now, everyone wants to come. Like, the amount of inquiries we had in the last 30 days is insane. And like there were many months, years ago, there wasn't a single inquiry. Right? But I just believed that this makes sense. It's good for pretty much everyone. It's better for regulators. They see more transparency because that's what they want. Make sure people aren't getting screwed. It's better for platforms. They get more assets to sell. It's better for users. They get more things to buy. There's new products coming out. There's new use cases. There's swapping. There's lending, borrowing reward assets. There's connecting to DeFi. There's staking. For, like, I couldn't see any downside. Maybe I was too bullish, but I couldn't see any downside to doing it. And so it's nice that the world's finally here, because there was a couple of many months, days, years there where it might have thought that we were crazy, and none of this made sense.
Yeah, it's great. And I guess now we have a really good understanding of the project as its foundation and how it works and what do you want to achieve. And you also said that you've been getting a lot of inquiries and the project is in a state where you wanted to be years ago. And it's really great to say that. And now actually you've announced staking and RWA airdrops. Can you share how they work?
Yeah, great question. So think about, if you think about one of the biggest in DeFi, we've had a situation where people loved the concept of stake ABC token, get ABC token rewards, locking up the supply, although you could argue that all day long. As soon as they get the rewards, do they dump them? But the point is that you're staking crypto for crypto. So that's great when the market goes up, and when the market goes down, it's like a house of cards, right? So we thought, well, how do you get the benefits of staking IXS, i.e., locking up supply, rewarding the community, but not having it negatively impact the price, which is what eventually it does? We said, well, we've actually got the licenses to airdrop real asset equity tokens on people. So let's get all of our issuers, and this is our company. I say it's a request. We kind of want to push it, but it's really like every asset that's launched, 1% of the tokens are reserved. These are equity tokens reserved for the community. So then if you stake IXS tokens, you can get airdropped shares of that startup or shares of that real estate project. So this is like a world first concept. And it's like, okay, well then this really helps IXS because it really is locking up supply, but like it's adding value to the token. It's not going. And then the users, they're getting like, what? I'm getting like free equity in projects. Like, and how is this possible? Well, it's possible because of everything we built. So then you have, a situation where you're also building up more community and shareholders for the RWA projects. And again, if you're doing good projects, people aren't just going to dump them like ICOs. That's the other thing that people don't understand. Like the reason people dumped the rewards in DeFi crypto to crypto, because it's all just like, oh, I'll do it quickly before it all falls down. If I've got a 10% yielding real estate project that's going to go on for the next 10 years, why would I dump that token? Just keep it, right? Doesn't matter what happens to the crypto market. Go up and down, I'm getting 10%. If I've got a treasury token paying 5%, doesn't matter. The RWA tokens, they just bring a whole new like paradigm to crypto. When I was in 2017 going to crypto events, there were no such thing as RWA events. There was not even STO events. Like no one did any events. Like there was first year or two, we did the first one in Singapore. There was like 5 people turned up for the free drinks. It was like, my point is I was saying, we should do STOs. And they're like, that's terrible, bad, boo, it's not crypto. And I was like, what do you mean? It's a fantastic use case. The more STOs, they're going to be priced in crypto, even if it's stable coins, more stable coins. This is like going to save crypto. I used to say save. That's probably not true now, but it's a massive use case, right? Like think about $1 trillion of real estate tokens issued tomorrow. Well, what's it going to be priced in? Probably USDC or USDT. Okay, well, let's go mint another $1 trillion of USDT to match that. Okay, we've just like 25% increase the size of the digital asset industry just like that, right? That's just an example. But anyway, the point is that I was always like, these things are great. Like if you're a startup, I always used to say to people, okay, you've done an ICO, great, I get it, awesome. And as well, in crypto, a lot of people have equity investors, have a lot of VCs, they sit on the cap table. Okay, so this is interesting. Why is there a cap table if it's all about the token value? Because it's a business. All these projects, these protocols, they're all businesses. They're all there to make money. Some of them might not be, but 99% of them are. So then we were like, all right, well, what if you actually then, instead of giving, let's just have an extreme example. Like you're a VC and you give me $1 million and I've got one shareholder. Okay. And then ICO or not, doesn't matter. But wouldn't you, if I'm a startup, I'd much prefer to have, again, extreme example, 1 million individual users that were using my protocol and my platform and have $1 equity each, than one investor that typically says they're going to help you and most of them don't. So, okay, well, that sounds great. But in the pre-blockchain world, pre-RWA, no one's going to issue $1 shares to 1 million people. That's insane, right? Now we can do it. Now on the platforms, almost at the same cost, you could come to IXSwap, and if there were 1 million users that wanted to buy your product, we could issue 1 million RWA tokens to them, right? They could all buy one for each for $1. So and there's so many different value propositions, but that's another thing I'm super excited by, because I'm like, if you're a startup now, you still want the VCs, you still want the better VCs. They can do the due diligence, they can do the lead investment, they can let everyone know that it's legitimate. But then instead of doing 1 million, do 500,000, and then take 500,000 out, offer that to your community. If they're equity investors, there's a much lower chance that is dump your tokens when they get them, because they're on both sides, right? So startups that start to use RWA will have a better success. They'll build a stronger community. They'll have more users, right? Again, buy my equity and use my platform, right? That's what much better than raising money is real revenue from a business, right? That's much better than raising money. You don't have to sell. So this massively helps and solves that issue as well. But again, anyway, I mean, I've kind of even lost the question because I was getting too excited by all these other things, but I'll pass back to you.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about staking and airdrops, and these are
Right.
big for IXS holders.
Yes, yeah. And yeah, that's the other thing. So we want to get as many of our issuers who own who set up the RWA
Hmm.
tokens to carve out a bit and use that to build those communities, because these RWA projects, typically that's what they have, right? So if you're a
Hmm.
startup and you're not issuing an ICO, you're just selling equity. So then in the blockchain world, you're sort of competing against token projects doing ICOs.
Hmm.
So it's like I tell the clients, I say, so you want to build a community and build some hype and make it exciting, carve out some of the equity and we'll airdrop it on people. Normally they look at me and go, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, well, this is how it works. Like then you've got this bigger community. It's like a marketing budget, but then
Hmm.
you've got more people talking about it, you've got more people invested in it, and it's super interesting and innovative, and you should do it. And it brings the Web3 community ownership vibes to this actual equity investment. It'll make your project more valuable. So more and more people doing that,
Hmm.
and that's one of the most exciting. I think it's one of the most exciting. It's a world first, one of the most unique staking
Hmm.
value propositions that's ever been created, because no one's ever had the licenses and the products to do it before.
Yeah. And I guess IXS holders will also appreciate having these kinds of things achievable for them. I mean, a great value proposition in staking, in airdrops. And there are different things on the platform that they can do and they can use. So there are also features. I want you to give us some highlighted features for you. Which do you think are most important? And what do you want to add in the future?
Yeah. Well, one of the most interesting things we built recently was liquidity bootstrapping pools.
Hmm.
So essentially, sort of the fair launch concept, um, running it for RWA equity tokens. So these are the first ones ever.
Hmm.
We've got a lot of world firsts because we're just trying to solve problems for ourselves. But this is really interesting, I think, because that open an equity round for a period of time. Everyone's getting the
Hmm.
same deal instead of all this like super early guys get a crazy new deal because it's like 5 minutes ago. All that stuff, right? A lot of it's unfair and unreasonable. So that's one of the latest things that we've built. There are a lot of smaller things, but I think what I think is coming down the pipeline that's really interesting. It's probably more of the model itself, which will
Hmm.
ultimately result in more value for the IXS holders.
Hmm.
We The first version was the first version, right? If you think about Uniswap now, V4,
Hmm.
it's probably 100 times more powerful than V1, right? So we're launching V2 soon, and it has 10 to 20 new value propositions V1 never had. Learning lessons, and we've got some new market making investors coming to invest in the company that are going to help us build out these new models. It's only IXSwap's the first one in the world. We now have like UBS and JP Morgan and governments writing
Hmm.
white papers about we should use AMM model in traditional financial markets, but they're writing like theory papers on it, and we're building
Hmm.
version 2. So it's coming. I think single-sided liquidity is something that we're looking to bring, and also multiple assets, providing call it stable coins
Hmm.
against 2 or 3 different RWA tokens. So we're really experimenting a lot with the different types of pool structures, other than just you must turn up and do $1 equity token and $1 USDT, which sort of the old model. And even on the algorithm, there's been developments. We've been studying Uniswap 4 as well. The team's amazing right now. They're
Hmm.
hustling away on all these new developments. But I think ultimately, not necessarily features, the assets. There's going to be a whole lot of new interesting assets. From 2018 to 2022, most of the RWA assets were terrible. Why is this? Most of the issuers were from traditional finance, and most of them
Hmm.
thought they would sell poor quality assets to degens as the exit liquidity. That was a lot of the theory. We saw thousands of these projects. We're like, that's not the point of this. And ironically, in 2022, the biggest, fastest growing RWA asset, the tokenized treasuries, came to life about a year or two ago, and that
Hmm.
was because in the crypto bear market, the recent one, there's hundreds of billions of dollars of stable coins earning no yield, USDT, USDC. People went, hang on. The banks were talking about tokenizing treasuries and stuff on their private chain. Again, no one cared.
Hmm.
Some people went, let's put it on chain so the crypto guys can buy it. Let's make it instant. Let's make it online. Let's make it daily redemption. So the crypto hedge funds, the bigger guys, started buying this because they would rather have 5% annualized a year. It's big money for these guys versus nothing, right? And then a lot of the crypto industry went, oh, aha, these products are really useful, even though it's a treasury. And that's the furthest thing away from crypto we ever thought would happen, but not really. But here it is. And then everyone went, what else is there that we can do? Oh, let's also change the name of the whole industry from security tokens to real world asset tokens. I don't know who did that, how it happened, but that's what happened. And for some reason, everyone loves that a lot more. I'm cool with it. We've had so many name changes. I got to go change the websites, and it's a pain in the ass for us, but that we're small. We don't determine what the industry says. So they rebranded RWA. Some of the guys in TradFi Wall Street didn't like it. We already risk-weighted, adjusted. We've already got, that's already a term that we use. Get your own terms. And the crypto guys went, we don't care, whatever, RWA. It just took off, right? So then it became RWA. And then people went, oh, okay, now I can understand. Okay, let's do startups. Let's do real estate. Let's do private credit, private debt. Let's do private equity. Okay, it's just game on now, right? So, and then Larry Fink came out and head of Franklin Templeton, and they went, yay, tokenization all on public chains. And now with crypto guys, most importantly, this is the most important for the crypto universe and for the IXS community, is the crypto guys get it now. 500 million or soon to be 500 million, soon to be 1 billion of crypto users are going to be buying these assets. Why? Well, very simply, on a centralized exchange, crypto exchange is a business. If you look at banks as a business, banks started very simply back in the day, deposits, withdrawals. Then they added all these other services to sell you, right? Insurance and packages and all this other stuff that you don't need now, structured products and da. Well, the crypto guys are no different, really. They start with, a lot of the crypto exchanges started with Bitcoin. They added Ethereum. They added a bunch of shit coins. They added meme coins. And now they want to add RWA because we can add more assets, sell more things to our users, make it more interesting, more valuable, make more money. Aha, let's do it. And we should probably do it legally compliant. We want to have a longevity for a business. So this is the really exciting part. And this is what, again, I think we've dedicated our lives to this longer than nearly everyone we've ever met. But the value proposition for RWA goes way beyond real estate share on the blockchain, right? That's the 101. The next thing is, what if I could? I'll pick on VC funds because it's a better example because it's more extreme. So why VC funds? Because typically a VC fund is 15 to 17 years to exit. Now, they never tell you that. The industry says 7 years, 10 years. If you go and look at the research, it's a 15 to 17 years to usually get out of the VC fund. No one wants to invest for 17 years. It's nuts, right? But so if you tokenize a VC fund, right, which we've done, you now have a share as a token, an RWA token. Instead of putting it in your drawer for 17 years, and I just want to give extreme examples so people can get it what I'm saying, you can now come to IXSwap and you can trade it straight away next week. 17 years has taken 1 week. What? That's crazy. Now you can take it to IXSwap and partners and you can use it as collateral. You can borrow some USDT, so you can use that, call it static or dead asset, if you will, and make it more usable. Wow, I can use it collateralized, kind of like a publicly traded asset or your house, right? That use case alone is insane. This one was alone. Then we say, oh, but these guys have actually got a new type of VC token. You can trade it, you can get distributions, dividends, you can sell half, you can sell keep. Wow, it's like a new, better form of VC share anyway, forgetting this other stuff. And hang on, there's going to be people coming to buy this from Binance and Coinbase, and I could sell it to hundreds of millions of users versus nothing. So there's each one of those points I mentioned are entire industries. IXSwap, secondary trading, entire industry. Our new lending borrowing platform is coming out, entire industry. New investment products, it's an entire industry, because the example I like to give is the ETFs. So the ETF concept was like 1979, I think. Let's get this new technology, let's launch one. And they raised like $6 million and everyone went, oh, that's a failure. Probably had $50 million of legal fees. Now the ETF industry is $8 trillion, right? From 6 mil to 8 inch, because that's what we're going to see now. We're going to see new types of tokenized VC funds, new types of real estate funds, mixing, matching indexes, like a whole bunch of stuff we're going to see we don't even know yet. I know this is true because look at crypto. In 2012, we didn't know Ethereum. In 2015, we didn't know ICO. In 18, we didn't know NFT. Like, and so this is going to happen. And then these new distribution channels, like platforms from either financial apps or stock market apps, or mainly the crypto guys, I think they're going to dominate, and I think they'll kill the banks one day. They'll just be, you want to open your phone as easy as any crypto or stock thing and just trade everything. My startup share for USDT, for a Bitcoin, back to an equity token, into, like, that's the world we're going to be in, right? And that's the way it should be. So that's what we've been building towards, and we continue to do that every day.
Do you feel like you're shaping a new standard?
Yeah, I guess we are. I think it's we as an industry, ourselves in our own way. Yeah, definitely. I mean, most of the things we've talked about today had never been done before. And so every day we woke up or we started doing it, there wasn't anyone to copy. There's a lot of people trying to copy us now, which is fine. But there hasn't been a blueprint for this stuff. It's like, how do you build an AMM for RWA tokens on multi-chain? Like, what? Like, everyone's like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you do lending, borrowing, and keep it legal compliant? And then, like, what? Like, so yeah, it's definitely, it's a new financial world. And like, it's now with crypto really taking off. I mean, it's going to explode. And I'd like to add, sort of last thing on this topic, like, I believe that last bear market in crypto was kind of the first real world asset market. It was the first time, it is the first real world asset market, because before that we called it security tokens. So the first real world asset industry was born in the last crypto bear market, because the stable coins wanted yield and crypto was in the toilet for 2 years, right? If you think about that next cycle, which we're now in the bull market, if we follow the normal cycles, in 12 months time we'll enter the next bear market, right? I think from everyone I read and follow that knows a lot more about trading, the general consensus is we're going to get somewhere around $10 trillion of an industry at the peak, right? This cycle, right? And through, for simplicity, let's say it's 10 trillion, 3 times from here. If the last bear market was $1 to $2 trillion and we had $1 to $200 billion of stable coins, that's the first real world asset space. Now you fast forward to the next cycle, we have 10 trillion. We go from 100 to 200 billion stable coins to 1 to 2 trillion stable coins, so 10x. So the real first bull market for real world asset tokens is when this $1 to $2 trillion of stable coin that wants yield and real world assets in the next bear market starts investing. And I think that's in the next 9 to 12 months. So we're going to see 10x the volume or more. That's just from the crypto guys. I'm not even touching Wall Street. I haven't even thought about Wall Street per se. But that's how I think about it. I'm like, if $100 billion of stable coins can give us 20, 30 billion, $1 trillion can give us 3 billion. Oh shit, that's like 30x from here. Okay, that's exciting. And that's what I think is going to happen. So I think that you will see, and now instead of just treasuries, just treasuries, there was other stuff, but it was small or no one cared. You're going to have treasuries and credit and real estate and startups and blah, blah, blah. It's just going to be amazing. So that's how I see it. I think that the next bear market in cryptocurrency will be the first real bull market in real world asset tokens.
Yeah. Well, listening to you, it feels like it. And also, I can understand how you are specifically solving a problem and how you are actually addressing a gap that you see in the crypto space that has never been done before. And because you're the first one to do it, I think it is really exciting. And many people, I think that the project is exciting. But what have you achieved so far? What are your achievements recently? What has happened to the project?
Yeah, I mean, we sort of did. We've got the best performing RWA equity token in the world. It's the CKGP. It's essentially a tokenized fund that invests into a bunch of portfolio of digital assets. That's nearly up 100% this year, and it's an equity token. The beauty of that one is we had 400 investors, and some people invested more, and some people invested 5 USDT. So that's what we wanted to bring to the market. That's one of the most exciting things. We had people from all these emerging markets that have never had any access to VC funds before, like really, really powerful. And you know, now there's so much interest in these new, like a lot of other fund managers launching. You know, apart from the models themselves, I mean, IXSwap, being able to start your own liquidity pool, fast, cheap, that alone is just galactically amazing for me, at least. We've done a bunch of world firsts. We were first to tokenize the onshore Singapore fund vehicle. We did that with UBS and State Street, and I mean, half of UBS Bank was on the phone calls. I remember like 50, 60 people on some of these Zoom calls trying to work it out. And, you know, I think ultimately the partnerships we've got going, the new products that we've got coming down the pipeline is developing out more suite of products, more features and functions. The IXS staking crypto for RWA equity token reward is also another amazing thing. There's a whole list of stuff that keeps us extremely busy, and it's growing because everyone's getting more excited. And you know, people forget from 2018 to 2022, no one cared about RWA. I mean, that's the bottom line. Maybe no one, as in compared to today. So it's been a brutal couple of years. There was no 2017, 18. There was no one. Right? There is no broker, anyone with a license that's got it. There is no custodian. There is no exchange. There's all these people doing crazy ICOs and calling them STOs, and they're illegal, and there's confusion, and there's all these private blockchains trying to win the business, like Quarter and Hyperledger Fabric. They're all backed by these big banks saying you've got to use this private chain if you're going to do RWA, and it's safe and it's compliant. All that was bullshit. But my point is that like every single thing was a challenge. And so up until now, so now we're in this exciting stage where we can actually release a lot of the things that we have been building, have we been either in concept or is additional. It's basically more of like stringing pieces of the puzzle together. Like every day you can build something that you think is amazing and then go, oh, now we know we need to do that and add that and add that and add that and add that. And it's basically just a constant Lego game of just adding on more pieces. So I'm excited by what we've got. I'm probably more excited by what we don't have yet that we don't know about. We've got a really interesting RWA lending play coming out, which I think is going to be massive. I think that's going to change RWA. Like being able to use your gold token or your real estate token or your VC token and borrow against that is just infinitely better than, you know, piece of paper and my drawer here doing absolutely nothing. Yeah. And so that use case is going to explode, and it's just beginning. So yeah, that's a few thoughts to cover that. I've been talking too much.
No, it's been great listening to you. And for the listeners who have been listening to us and they are interested in IXSwap, what would you suggest them to do? What can you do now?
What can we do with IXSwap?
What can the listeners who are interested in IXSwap can do now?
Yeah, sure. Well, look, we would love you to join our community. We've got a super active Telegram. It's full of loyalists and people that have been with us. New people, of course, people have been with us for a long time, but amazing mods. I'm very active in there as well. We're a very hands-on project. So we've got a Telegram. I think we'll have the links for everyone. The Twitter, obviously, for announcements. And what I say to everyone, like, RWA is the biggest opportunity in finance because it's bigger than crypto because it's connected to crypto. So it's like crypto and all the real world assets in the world that are trillions and trillions of dollars and are going to grow every day. You have this new technology marrying with this real world assets, marrying with the crypto. And if you think about technology investors, those that invest earliest typically get the biggest returns, the most asymmetric returns, right? That's just general. A lot of people die and get shot in the back and whatever. But so now you have an opportunity. Everyone wanted to be in Bitcoin at 8 cents, right? Everyone says that, yo, I wish I bought at 8 cents. We're having that moment already last year, or year before. You're having your 8-cent Bitcoin moment. You can start investing into RWA now and learn all the different products, features, the functions, how this, what makes it, and make yourselves the best RWA investors in the world. That's what we're trying to do with the IXSwap community. We're saying, join our community. We're working hard every day to bring assets, features, functions, and that you guys can adopt first. You're ahead of the curve. Again, but the only way to do that is to KYC, plug in a wallet, and buy something. And we've made it one USDT minimum. So there's no excuses that people can't afford it. We've slaved all day long and night to make that happen. But for your own benefit, like, this is the biggest opportunity for it. And crypto is great, awesome. We've even got our own cryptocurrency, IXS. But like, here's an opportunity on the IXSwap platform built for everyone in the world, to be part of this. But the only way you ever learn anything is if you put some skin in the game. And again, it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be one USDT. And start buying stuff and seeing what the hell's going on and accessing these assets you've never accessed before. And then giving us feedback on how to build better products, build better services. There's definitely a lot of people that love to give us feedback. But yeah, so we welcome everybody. And we hope that you can really learn a lot and become some of the best RWA investors as this grows out. We're 6 years old, but we're really just getting started. I mean, literally just scratching the surface.
That's great. And I think it worked out for you. I mean, having a great foundation is really important in crypto, and you have that with InvestaX, and now you're carrying this to IXSwap. And
Yes.
Julian, it's been blast talking to you. Thank you for all the answers. You've been really clear and explanatory in all your answers, and that's what I like to see in these AMAs, and I think that's what our listeners like. So
No
thank you so
problem.
much for joining today's AMA.
Awesome. Thanks for having us. And thanks for everyone that made it all the way to the end. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening to today's AMA. We talked about IXSwap, InvestaX, and Julian explained us everything in detail. If you are interested, the links will be in the description. There are great things happening for IXSwap in the recent days, and you can join their community to learn more about it. So it's been today's AMA, and thank you for watching us. I hope to see you in the next AMA. Bye bye.